Number 40, read paragraph 2 from the excerpt. To those proprietors of mangy lynxes, moth-eating coyotes, and dancing bears, I return courteous but uncompromising refusals. Of course, first submitting all such letters together with my replies to Dr. Farrago. Okay, so here we know the narrator works for the zoo, and part of his job is to respond to people who try to sell or give their animals to the zoo. And the second paragraph goes on to indicate to those proprietors, those people trying to give away their animals, the mangy lynxes, moth-eating coyotes, dancing bears. So dancing bears are in circuses. Mangy, moth-eating. These are sort of downtrodden, not worthy type animals, certainly not of zoo quality. He returns obvious no's in his opinion, but of course he has to pass it by Professor Farrago, who may well be his boss. So that's really the idea here. Let's look at the question. This paragraph helps develop the plot by establishing that the narrator, thinks these animals are kind of worthless, thinks that writing refusal letters for the animals offered to the Zoological Society is not necessary. Okay, this might entice some students, but be careful. Work your critical reasoning skills. It is not whether he thinks writing refusal letters are necessary or not. They are necessary. That's not the issue at hand. He just thinks the animals offered up are really not worthwhile. F, attempts to predict what the professor would say in the refusal letters. No, there are no lines here that indicate any attempt to predict the professor. Okay, and he's clearly saying no to almost all of them, so he's not even worried about the professor, really. G, believes that many of the animals offered are not acceptable for the Zoological Society. That's correct. He believes many of the animals offered are not acceptable. Why? Because they're mangy, they're moth-eaten, and he always writes refusals, of course, or almost always. Let's just check H. Resents the professor's insistence on reviewing the refusal. No, there's no sense of resentment. He just states it as a fact. I give my replies to the professor to be checked. Okay, G is the correct answer for 40.